Okay, so the final step is adding in your dimensions and then printing. So to add dimensions, again, we're going to draw, and the drawing tools are up here. And I want to go to dimensions. Now we have vertical dimensions, horizontal dimensions, angular dimensions, radius, diameter, center line, all of that. We're going to be primarily focusing on horizontal and vertical. So we'll start with horizontal. Now we can see in here that there's already a horizontal dimension for how wide our boat is, or how long our boat is, which is 9. So the other dimensions I need to give are the ones for my hull cutout, my circles here, the cutout in the back, how deep the cutout is, how wide the cutout is. So there are quite a few more I need to add. Now, if you're following along in your engineering journal, you're going to see at step 11 it says add dimensions to 0.01 width. So before I start adding them, I want to make sure I change my width back down to 0.010. It needs to be a smaller dimension before I get started. So make sure you have that changed to black, solid, and 0.10. And I don't think I have it solid. I don't. There it is. It's hidden. So I want to be back to solid. Okay, so now we're going to get going. I'm going to measure from horizontally from left to right. And this dimension is coming in at 5 3/4. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now here's the problem. That's right in line with that visible line. So if you grab this green arrow here, you can extend it out a little bit more. You don't want it outside your title block area, but we do want it outside of our boat. So I can see this extension line is coming out on both sides, and the dimension is moving from left to right. Another horizontal dimension I'm going to have is how wide this area is. So I'm going to go back to draw, dimension, horizontal, and I want to know how wide this area is. You can see it's 2 inches. It moved it up that way. I want it to be outside my boat on this side, so I'm going to bring it that way. Now it got rid of my extension lines because I'm so close, which is okay. There's not a big problem with that. If I moved it out a little bit more, it might add that extension back in, but it doesn't have to be there. If you're missing your extension lines, it's okay. Okay, let's go back to page view. Okay, so another horizontal dimension. Do I have any others? I could show how deep this cutout is. That would probably be important information to know. So draw, dimension, horizontal. How wide is this area going to be? It's a half. Now, I think I don't want this down here. I think I'd like this to be up top. So I think I'm going to actually have it from this upper dimension. So I'm bringing that up. Oh, sorry. Back to page. I'm going to move it down slightly. There we go. Now, see how it's sticking outside my area? I'm going to have to figure out how I can move that. So if I double click in there, I double clicked in this little square here. I should be able to move that over slightly. That way I can keep it inside my title block. Good. And there it is. So I know that this is going to be 1/2 inch in. Awesome. The next few dimensions I need are now vertical. So I'm now going to go to draw, dimensions, vertical. So now I need to know how wide this is going to be. So from left to right, it's telling me it's 2.5, and I'm going to extend this out closer to the end. And it's going to have to share some space with my 4-inch. So my extension here, I think what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to move it up a little bit, and then I'll move it in so that we can actually see it. So if I zoom in there, yeah, the 4 and the 2.5 are fighting for space there, but that's all right. We can still see it. Because I also want this vertical dimension in the back. So I'm going to go to draw dimensions, vertical. I want to know how tall this is. It's 3 inches, so I'll move this back here. And let me move it out a little bit more so that we can keep it away from that line, the center line. Good. Oh, and it looks like I have a little line here, this little hash line, a little tiny little one. See if it'll let me select it. It's not letting me grab it. Move that out of the way. The struggle's real. Let's see, there we go. I can delete that. I don't need that anymore. That was part of me being able to find my center line. Let me see if I can grab that in the front too. Yeah. Move these other little lines out of the way. I should be able to see it. So I'm just moving my lines back so I can see it. There it is. So now the rest of them come back and join the rest where they're supposed to be. If you guys don't delete that little hash mark, it's not the end of the world, but I'm being picky here. Alright, so I've got this vertical dimension, that's important to know. I've got that, got everything else, that's good. Oh, I am missing how deep my cutout is. I think that's the last one. The other place you can find dimensions is over here on the left side of our toolbar. So right here's dimensions, and if you hold it down, you can select horizontal or vertical, and vertical is already selected. So if I click here and click down, you can see that I have another 1/2 inch depth here, and I want to be able to see that it says 1/2 inch. So again, I'm going to click that and just move it off to the side slightly. So to me, that looks like I've got all my dimensions. It's looking pretty good. If you think you got it how you want it and where you want it, I suggest then that you, next thing you should try to work on is saving it. And I'm moving this slightly again, I'm just being picky here. Save it and then print. So we're going to hit File, Save. And then when it's time to print, give it one more look over, make sure everything's right. And you're going to print out your first copy. So you're going to go to File, Print. And you want to select this arrow down, and you're choosing Cult Tech Ed. Now the Cult Tech Ed printer for some reason is not working. You can choose the First Floor New Wing. That's the printer outside Miss Kaler's room, but for our class you just need to print in the Tech Ed room. So we're going to hit Tech Ed. Make sure it's only one copy. And you can preview it first to make sure it's going to print out okay. And, oh, mine's printing on 2 pages. I don't want that. So if I hit File, Print, hopefully it'll tell me it wants to consolidate pages. Yep, this job will use fewer pages if the orientation of the printer page is changed. Would you like to change it? Yes, I would. Now it's printing. You'll probably be able to hear my printer going in the background. And once it comes out, you'll take this to your instructor and they'll check it. And they'll tell you, oh, yep, that looks great, or oh, nope, that's not good. You're missing this or you're missing this. If you need to go back and change things, you should. And then once you're done all that, once everything looks good, you need to turn in, you'll need to print out a second copy. This first copy, if it's good, goes with your drafting portfolio. You put it in order from rough sketch, the 4 rough sketches, to the half scale, to the isometric pictorial, to the CAD in the very back, stapling your rubric on top of all of those in order and turning your portfolio in. Then you can take this paper and begin working on your actual styrofoam boat hull as long as you've passed the safety test. So that's the order that this progresses.